welcome to my channel. Today's video is on emergency heat for the winter. It's November 19th, 2023. What will you do if you lose power and you only have electric heat? I suggest, I'm not getting paid by my suggestion here, promoting the little buddy heater, but I do own one. I own this one, the Big Buddy. When it comes to heat, this little unit really saved my butt here. About 2 years ago, I was in Texas, living in my travel trailer, and we had a freak springtime winter snowstorm that knocked out the power grid. The power grid wasn't big enough to handle the capacity that was needed to heat up homes around the area. So the power company had to do many blackouts. Not many blackouts, I would say. They would turn part of the grid off for 4 hours to let the other part of the grid have electricity, while the other half got to sit in the dark and hopefully not freeze to death. And that lasted for, I'd say, a week. With snow and the roads and supplies being dampened coming in, and in Texas we don't have snow removal equipment on the highways. They just throw sand and dirt on the highway and pray for the best and tell people to stay home and don't go out if you don't need to. The reason I bought me a little buddy heater is perfect for my travel trailer. I still have my travel trailer. It's 204 per hour, 27 foot long prowler, sleeps 6. The reason I chose the little buddy heater for emergencies, because of the accessories you could get for it. The little buddy now is going for, off of Walmart.com on November 19th, 2023, $119. Just for that little Big Buddy there. I chose the Big Buddy. They have a smaller buddy that only has one element. When it comes to heat, I don't like to be cold, so I figured with the Big Buddy, I could put it on low, and that would just turn on one side of the heater, and if it's real cold, I could throw it on high, and that would have both burners going. And you don't need batteries to start it. The little knob there, you just turn it to on and push it down, and it has a little spark igniter, and hold it down until the pilot light's lit and you're off and rolling. It does have the ability to have 2 1-pound containers of propane. 1-pound propane tanks, if you're gonna have it steadily on, only last probably about 6 hours if you're a little lucky, depending on where you're at, I guess. But yeah, my tanks usually lasted about 6 hours, and then you had to replace it with some extras if you had them, hopefully. The neat thing about these 1-pound tanks, we'll discuss later, is you could, you don't want to throw them out, you could reuse them. You could go buy a 20-pound tank and buy a little adapter to refill them. It's kind of dangerous though. You need to get you a digital scale. You don't want to overfill those little tanks. without weighing them, because you have to leave at least 10% out of the tank for expansion. If the tanks get hot, the gas will expand, and if you fill it all the way up, the tanks could probably explode on you, or at least bulge out. The old Big Buddy heaters, that little switch you see there, was for an electronic fan that ran on a battery, or you'd get you a power adapter if you still had power to run a little fan. But I think they've, at least when I bought my Big Buddy, the fan was not installed, but the switch was still there in the battery container area. This little thing was a ghost town. It's kind of like a little storage compartment now for nothing. But I didn't need a fan really. The heat generated from the Big Buddy was fine. I was good. I was not complaining a bit about anything. The neat thing with the Big Buddy, you could buy hoses, which you have to buy the right hoses, because if you go cheap with the hoses, you got to buy these little filters to go on the hose, because the hose will, the propane will make the oil in the hose start dripping from the hose from within and blow that into your little buddy, and that will screw up your little buddy heater if you don't have those little filters, and we'll show you all that pretty soon. But I do like it. It's portable. You go take it fishing, hunting, or whatever, in your tent, whatever. With my rig, all travel trailers have LP detectors to detect any kind of propane leaks or anything like that. It'll start beeping like a crazy man on you, drive you nuts. My LP detector in my rig didn't go off. I played it safe though. I did track the roof vent open just a hair to let some of the heat go and get some fresh air in the rig. I didn't smell, with carbon monoxide you don't smell that. That just kills you. Kills you while you're sleeping. But it's always probably good to have a carbon monoxide sensor in your house close by. The neat thing about a little buddy too is if has emergency cutoff switches that will turn the unit off if it's tipped over by a pet or low levels of oxygen censored. It'll turn your little buddy off. So, but to play it safe, I would get you a carbon monoxide detector just for the grins. I don't know. I didn't feel sick or anything when I had my Big Buddy burning in my rig during that big snowstorm 2 years ago here in Texas. The only thing I did run into, I had a lot of those 1 pound bottles stocked up, but it seemed like it didn't quite last me a week. It lasted probably about, I'd say 3 days, maybe 4 days for 12 bottles. But I did have some 20 pound propane bottles, and I did have the hoses. The bad thing was during emergencies, all that propane crap disappears. Everybody grabs it off the shelf, so you need to stock up just for the times when shit hits the fan. So you do have to have a little reserve somewhere of propane bottles. I did have some propane 20 pound barbecue grill tanks that I had that had propane in them. But unfortunately, when all that shit was going on, I went to all the Stripes and grocery stores that sold propane, and all their propane was gone. The 20-pound bottles were all empty, they said, and I just told them, I said, hey, I'll buy a empty bottle at full price. I don't care. I just need a couple of extra tanks. I could take the tanks to a propane filling station that I know of and get the tanks filled, but they wouldn't sell me the empty bottles. So I thought that was pretty crazy. I was like, you just missed out some easy money. You know, not a lot of people buy empty tanks at the full price for a full one, but during emergencies, you do what you got to do. But let's go through some of the accessories. These are the hoses. They got a bunch of other hoses. These types of hoses here, especially this one right here, I bought this one. This one will need the inline filter. And see, they're cheap hoses. The best hose you get for the Big Buddy to be safe would have a regulator on it right here. It has a regulator on it and a quick connect that's able to be used on your Big Buddy heater, even this one right there. But they're expensive hoses. You gotta spend some money. This one's not showing a price, but there you go, about $65.12 for this one. And they're even getting kind of high for the hoses you need the filters for. But you definitely want to get a hose with the regulator on it that you can hook up to a 20-pound bottle. Let's see what the little filters look like. Filters are right here that you'll need if you go cheap and buy the crappy hose that needs a filter. And they're getting expensive too. 2 years ago they were like about $2-3 a piece. Now they're $15 a piece. I don't know how long the filters last. Like I said, I only had to use my Big Buddy for about a week, and by that time I switched to a 20-pound bottle. I had the other hose that didn't need the filter. Oh, see, this is the hose you'll need those filters for, because these hoses are known to leak oil from inside from the propane, and that would get into your little buddy or Big Buddy and screw up your Big Buddy. Your little propane bottles are getting expensive too. This is at Walmart here on Walmart.com. They're $18.87. So if you're gonna go with the small bottles, it's nice to use the smaller bottles. You don't have to carry a 20-pound tank out in the woods with you. You carry probably a 4-pack or a 6-pack in your backpack without killing you, to use throughout your 2-day or 3-day camping trip if you needed heat, if you can't build a fire. But Walmart's kind of expensive for propane. Looks like I've got better deals at Sam's. I bought a 6-pack of 1-pound bottles for $32 a pack. So you just have to shop around, find better deals on your propane. I haven't priced the 20-pounders. I still got a bunch of 20-pound propane bottles that are full, So we'll just keep those in a nice safe spot to hang out for when I need it, either for barbecuing or hooking up my big buddy to a 20-pounder. Let's see, what else we got over here? Like I said, those 1 pound bottles you could fill up, but I don't recommend it without a digital scale that you could weigh those bottles, because you don't want to fill those bottles all the way to the top. That's a picture of the device there. You just screw it onto your 20-pound bottle, to your 1 pound there. Like I said, even your propane bottles, your big propane bottles, your 20-pounders, they're not all full up. They always fill them up to 80%, just to let the expansion happen when the gas gets hot during the summer. If you fill these bottles up when it's cold out, you could really fill these little bottles too high. Then you got a problem. What usually happens, you can go on YouTube, they got people that have filled these little bottles up before, and then they get all excited because these bottles have just ballooned up about 2 inches, and you're like, oh, you're lucky it didn't blow you up. The problem that they did was they filled it when it was too cold outside, and they filled up too much propane in the bottle. Like I said, the safest way to do this is by putting the 1 pound bottle on a scale, and you'll weigh it empty, and then you go ahead and start filling up. Start seeing it at 1 pound, or I'd recommend you get you a full bottle, a 1 pound bottle, and put that on the scale and say, okay, that's where we need to go with it. If the weight is 1 pound, you're good, but definitely don't go over. It's easier if you're going to refill these little suckers by yourself. I'd rather be a little bit shy than way over and have the damn bottle blow up on you or do some harm to you. So yeah, and that's only a $9.48 accessory if you wanted to get that. But let's see if they got the little propane stands and stuff. You could put the bottle on and make it a little bit easier for you to refill the 1 pound bottles. It doesn't look like they're showing it. Did see some. There's the filters. They got all sorts of other filters here. See, $74.97 for filters. But like I said, if you're going cheap with the cheaper ass hose, you'll have to get these little buggers. So, but it's like I said, spend the money, get the expensive hose with the regulator on it, and you won't complain. Do recommend you getting you a little buddy bag to store your little buddy in when you're not using it. Plus, it makes it easier to carry around to a football game or camping thing or wherever you're gonna go. Keeps all the dirt and dust out of there, and you can store 2 extra 1 pound tanks on the side of the unit. And it has compartments for your hose for a 20 pounder and all that you choose, and enough room to put a couple of these filters in there if you want it. So it is handy. That's a small buddy heater. Like I said, when it comes to heat, and I don't like freezing my ass off, that's why I chose the Big Buddy, because it has the two elements in it. The Little Buddy has one. Only has the Little Buddy only could use one 1 pound bottle. You could still hook up a 20 pounder to the Little Buddy, but you're just not gonna produce a lot of heat when you need it. With the Big Buddy, you have the options. You can just put it on low and have that one side burning, and if it's not cutting it, you can turn it on medium to high, and you'll have both sides cooking, and you'll feel good. But like I said, if this one's way cheaper, $74, but when it comes to emergency, you have no power, you have electric power and your house power goes out because, your city might have went green and had windmills installed and mothballed their gas-fired generators to produce electricity, because all these power companies love that free energy that they're selling, ripping you in the ass for. Solar and wind power that they get for free, other than the original cost to installing the shit, but they're getting their money back faster than you can say holy shit when you see your electric bill. They're like, oh my god. But that's what you gotta do. I do like solar, I like wind power, but you do have to maintain that shit, so I guess the cost you pay for electricity goes to maintain their system for them. They don't want to spend their money doing that, so why not rip you in the butt and charge you all this money for their free electricity, but they do have to replace their windmills, replace their solar panels on when big storms come and knock them out. Or with West Texas, the windmills froze up because they didn't have heaters in the damn things. They didn't produce any power. So we were kind of in a rock and a hard spot there for a while, for at least until the weather warmed up a bit. But that was the a little adapter you'd buy if you had power. But like I said, when COVID hit and all that shit, everybody was trying to save money, and Little Buddy removed the fan that came with the Little Buddy. It was the power operated, or had this little adapter you could buy for $8.99 to supply power to that little fan. But like I said, you really don't need that fan. These Little Buddy heaters, at least the Big Buddy heater I had, gave me plenty of heat. I was snug as a bug in a rug. I loved living in my rig. I felt real fortunate at the time I was living in my rig, because travel trailers are pretty self-contained. The only thing I didn't have during a deep freeze like that is water, which was not a big deal. You can store bottled waters in your rig somewhere. And that's a whole different story there. And you had to drain your gray water tanks and freshwater tanks anyway, because you didn't want those tanks to freeze and bust on you, and you'd have a world of hurt, because those tanks are not easy to replace when they do bust, because you didn't drain the tanks, and you found out your tank was busted and you gotta get a new one. Those things they were the first things to go in a rig on the floor. So if you do have to replace those tanks, you gotta rip your floor out of your rig, and cabinets possibly, just depending on where those tanks are laying. It's a major disaster, so like I said, when it's freezing, drain those tanks, your gray water, black water, and your domestic water tanks, and get you some bottled water stockpiled in your rig so you can drink that and use it for cooking or whatever. Like I said, when it's freezing out, that's a good thing about Texas. That doesn't happen too often, but you just never know. It was definitely a shocker. And when I did have power, I was watching the local news and just shaking my head at the poor homeowners that had to lose power, and due to the grid had to be jerked around. One section would have power for 4 or 5 hours, and then they'd turn their power off to give us power back. And meanwhile, doing all that, the homeowners that didn't have emergency heat, any kind of heaters to maintain the heat inside their houses, their pipes froze, their water lines busted. They had major icicles in the living room from the upstairs pipes busting from the restrooms up above. Just a total mess. And I was like, holy crap. Thank God I was in a travel trailer where I had control of turning off my water all the way from the spigot. Drained all my tanks. I did have some solar lighting, which was adequate. It lasted as long as I needed it. I had installed some dusted dawn lights in my rig, which turn on automatically when the sun goes down, and they usually lasted till about 3 in the morning, all depending on sunlight. Unfortunately, in the wintertime, sunlight hours get shorter in Texas, especially where I'm at. Usually gets dark by about 6, so, and then it gets sunny probably by 7 in the morning or 8. So your charging time is really diminished. But the neat thing is summers, which seem like we don't get dark soon enough. It could be daylight at 9:30 at night. You're like, God, turn off the light. It's time to go to bed. So, but this storm was in spring. I couldn't believe it. It was like April. It's snowing. We got about 2 or 3 feet of snow and freezing weather and slushy, and roads were just dangerous and icy and just crazy. So I was real fortunate. I had stockpile of food. I was fortunate. Our power was kind of just brownouts, 5-hour brownouts. You knew you were going to get power sooner or later. So I was able to cook some food when we got our power back on, eat, and it wasn't all that bad. And when the power went out, I could turn my big buddy heater on and just be snug as a bug as a rug, and read a book until the power came back on, and get back on the TV or computer to see what's going on. So there you go. That's my recommendation for you for emergencies, and for just taking this portable heater with you for winter sport or camping or something. But the big thing is emergency heat. Something happens at your house, you need heat. The Big Buddy heater will do it for you. That's a pretty good unit for the price, I thought. But wintertime, the prices always go up when you want to buy something. Some kind of heaters. The best time to buy these things is summertime, when they got a billion of them on the shelves. Look around, get you a good price, and they are good little units. Don't go on YouTube and watch these yahoos using little buddy hacks for cooking and crap. They pull that little grill off and then they tell you could put a fry pan on that and cook you some eggs over your little buddy. That's just guaranteed to make you go spend another $119 on a new buddy heater because all your eggs and shit just made the fucker tip over and probably got the shit inside your shit. You're like, oh man, stupid fucking YouTube. If you want to cook when you don't have power, buy a fucking propane little camp stove or liquid camp stove thing that you kind of pump up and have your burners going with the camp stove fluid. No, use your shit for what they're for. Don't be dicking around with a big buddy heater because you went to YouTube and saw some douchebag telling you go buy a paint strainer for a roller and take off that guard on the little buddy and you could put a pan on here and fry you some eggs and shit. Good way to burn down your house and fuck up your big buddy heater. So use a big buddy as a heater, not a goddamn stove. Like I said, it's always good to get you one of those little camp stoves that use the liquid fluid, or you can buy a camp stove that's propane. Since you got the 1 pound bottles, buy a 1 pound bottle cook stove thing that takes propane. And then you got a little stove to cook on, and you got a heater that's supposed to heat, not be a fucking stove. Well, there you go. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Oops, we gotta find the right button there. Didn't turn it off. There you go. Bye-bye.